Alright, so it is 4:34 in the morning, and I just finished Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I, I'm just gonna get this out of the way. Let's get the good parts out of the way first. Alright. Main quest, main story. Love the story. It was fun. It was very different from the first game, but also very similar in a way, if that makes sense. Like, there was it was a simple plot, and it centered around a female for some reason. First game, getting revenge because my childhood bae got stabbed by a robot. Oh God, no, not my stupid squeaky bae that didn't really treat me like a person, but more like a mongoloid that couldn't put his own 2 feet in front of himself to walk. And in this game, you find basically if Excalibur was a hot chick, that was the game. Hello, Excalibur, let us go vanquish evil and take everyone to the promised land. Oh, I see you've got some nice breasticles there. Kind of disproportionate to the rest of your body. It's almost like it's like someone likes him too much when they designed you. I don't know. Alright, that's the good things about the game. The game, if you play it like a linear game, if you play it like the first game, you'll have a lot of fun. But if you come from a point that you play the I don't know, spin-off game, I'll say spin-off game, Xenoblade Chronicles X, which was open, what drove that game was exploring the world and getting resources so you can upgrade your stuff. And the story, there was like 10 main story quests, and that was it. Like, you could beat the game really quick if you wanted to. I put 80 hours into it because I wanted flying robots, because flying robots are dope. Transforming flying robots. So, and it didn't really have side quests. You had like missions, and then there was the multiplayer aspect, but they were like the missions, but the missions were usually go put a thing over here and then get paid for it, or go get a certain type of thing using a passive mining tool and then turn it into an area and you'll be happy and get upgraded equipment that you could buy, or go kill some monsters because monsters are bad. In this game, the side quests were go to an area, fight some monsters, then you find a person that's just like, oh hi, I'm the guy, thanks for saving me. I'm not going to go with you and let you complete the quest unless you have a specific plant that I want and a specific field skill that I want. Okay, the first game had field skills. Field skills let you do this. They let you either look into agricultural wonders, like there was like level 1 through 5. They let you look into stone things, like to get minerals, and they let you look into ancient technology that was on the planet. There were 3 of them. In this game, I don't even know how many there are. Some blades have ones that are unique, that are seemingly useless, probably tie into their side quests. A blade is basically a support character that makes up your party. You have 5 main characters, and the rest of your characters are blades, which are support characters that you use as weapons. You watched, what's it called? Soul Eater? It's kind of like Soul Eater, if you've watched that anime. Come to think of it, this is a very anime story kind of game. If you go into it, if you don't like anime storytelling, which, if you don't watch anime, you don't know what that is. It's kind of like American movies. It's something about American movies and Japanese anime and Korean drama and just everything that has its own different little tropes. And these tropes are present. But the problems that I had with this game is I almost felt punishing to try and just explore and find secrets. And Xenoblade Chronicles, the original, I found secrets and I just didn't know how to get to them. It was a door and I didn't know how to get through the door. So it said you might need to come back to this later, and I'm assuming it was late game things and I just didn't know how to get into it yet. Which there are many late game areas that have high level monsters that are for if you don't want to go fight the boss and see the credits again when you turn the game on. This game, you'd come to some sort of obstacle, and that obstacle would require field skills. that I brought up later. Now, field skills are like electrical mastery. Say your blade is electricity based. They have a certain level of electricity that they can handle. Or fire, a certain level of fire that they can handle. Or earth and wind and ice and light and darkness. And then there's ones like high jumping, like just to, like say there's a gap and you know that there's stuff on the other side of the gap. You need something like to make a bridge, which I never made a bridge. I never went back to the ones I found that are about making bridges with ice. Or you jump up to something. But there are ones that there are impasses that you're like, okay, cool, I got past them. And some of them are difficult impasses that you need to be like, I was level 45 and the in-game boss is level 70. So I was midway through the game when it comes to levels. Oh, I'm sorry. That's a spoiler, I'm sorry. The boss is a high level. But, okay, so you need certain requirements to get past a certain obstacle. Then there's another obstacle in your way that requires either different skills that you don't have or more of that same exact skills plus another one. And it just becomes frustrating. It makes you not want to explore because you know unless you grind and get your character and build your blades, which it's random which ones you get. It's a randomized system. It's based on like your character's inherent like personality, which you can improve compassion, bravery, loyalty, and I don't remember the last one. Compassion, bravery, loyalty. And then there's a purple one. I don't remember the purple one. I think zeal. Mind? Something intellectual. I don't know. But it came to that, and it came to the point where I was just like, I have 4 pages of 2 by 4 pictures of that will represent what a side quest is. Like it has a little list for you, and I had 4 pages of them, and I just didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do any of them because I knew if I wanted to do them, I'd either have to shuffle up my party constantly with not even the guarantee that shuffling up my party would work. I took a day and I was like, you know what? I'm going to try and do a few side quests. That was the biggest decision I ever made. I spent 3 hours finding out that I could not finish any of the side quests that I started. And some of them weren't even late game side quests. Some of them were ones I started out with, and I didn't piddle around. I have 130 hours in the game, and I can't do side quests. None of the side quests are just go find a monster and kill it. None of them are go get me some stuff and bring it back to me. And in an RPG, a JRPG especially, that's all the side quests need to be. And don't even get me started on the treasure system. Okay, Xenoblade Chronicles has a gem system where you take parts from monsters. They tell you that it's a gem part, and you craft the gems together and mix them together to make different effects. In this game, you get a thing that says what it is. It'll say like aggro reduction level 4, but you can't use that. You have to go back and hope that you have been hitting A on all the little shinies on the ground, and all the little shinies on the ground give you a random assortment of the what would you say, collectibles in the area. That's what they call them, collectibles. They're like little animals, little ruined mechanical parts, fruit, just things like that. And you have to mush them together to get you right to use the thing that you earned by finding treasure or beating a boss. Never whenever you beat a boss, the only things that you'll get from beating a boss is a direct weapon, just a normal weapon that you can use to connect to your blade, your party member. It's just, say you get an iron sword, but if you want to, imagine you have an iron sword. You beat a boss, you get a steel sword, but you also get an enchantment that says the iron sword will now do 15 points of fire damage. Or whenever you hit something, you get 15% of the health back from attacking. But first, you have to scour the landscape and find all the little pieces. It's basically like getting schematics. You never earn something, you earn the right to make it. And don't even get me started on one of the party members. One of the party members, you have to play a mini game to earn a internal game currency to make her better. I don't even know where to start with that. It gets tedious. You never seem to earn enough crystals, and instead of earning crystals, sometimes you'll just get blueprints that let you give yourself enchantments. Oh man. Like, this character is fleshed out. You can turn her into anything you want. She can be a tank, she can be a healer, she can switch elements, she can do whatever she wants. She has multiple forms. I think you can earn forms for her. She instead of like having one character who has different blades that he can use, he has one single blade that just like transforms, like goes like Super Saiyan and then Super Saiyan Blue or something like that. This is not my final form kind of nonsense. And whenever you just like, I couldn't finish Xenoblade X because it had no story, but I can say that I enjoyed it more as a whole package. I had more fun with that game than I had with Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I liked the story. The story was fun. It was a good little story. Nothing groundbreaking, nothing revolutionary, nothing special. But I wanted to see it through. That made me keep playing. And there were 2 boss fights that are completely unfair and actually don't play correctly when it comes to the battle system. Let's get to the battle system. This is just a rant. It's not a review. The battle system, let's see, it's very complicated. You can switch between 3 different support characters, and you earn a little, basically a hyper bar when you're using them, and then you can use specials, but they all share the same special meter, so you can mix them all together. And depending on the element, when you put elements together, you'll do a status effect on whatever you're fighting, and it will circle around them, indicating that that's the status effect that is now on them. Some of the status effect would be like a blowdown seal, and like a seal means it can't happen anymore. They're not allowed. Tells you in the tutorial, if you seal something, it cannot happen. This boss and some other bosses just ignore that. Say you put blowdown resistance on your character. That's like getting interrupted in this game when you're doing an attack. Because if you get interrupted during an attack, you lose it. It goes away and it goes back on cooldown. It's like instead of having like a big tree of skills like on the bottom of an RPG screen like an MMO, you have 3 per support character and their specials. So you'll get interrupted, and then you have to wait. And say you're about to heal your entire party, and that's what will save you. And just some little peon comes over and hits you, and you stagger. Nothing else, just they make you stagger. You lose that, and you have to wait 15 seconds. You might not last 15 seconds. But this boss drove me insane, because the most important aspect of a Xenoblade game is aggro management. It's like an MMO. If the enemies are hitting the wrong party member, you will die and you will lose. Your main character will die unless you're, playing the tank, and then you'll just die last. If you do not manage aggro correctly, you cannot play the game. But the thing is, some attacks, especially bosses love to have these. Some attacks will just hit your entire party no matter what they're positioning. No matter where they are, even if they're super far away from the boss, because they ran off to go pick up a healing potion. Healing potions pop out sometimes whenever you do abilities, and you can run over and grab them like a little collectible. It's like a non-guaranteed heal. But they come out faster than healing abilities, so they're safer to use. Because you can get staggered. But so in just these entire party hitting attacks they're devastating, especially if you're playing you have a damage dealer that has no buffs to his HP or no buffs to his defenses. If you're playing, you just have a straight damage dealer, that's your damage for your entire party, your main damage character. Every now and then the bosses will just ignore all aggro that is trying to be manipulated around them, and they'll just go for you. They will just go for you in particular. They'll go for your character. Whoever you're controlling, it doesn't matter. Whenever I see that I am doing nothing but auto-attacking will accumulate far less aggro, especially if you created some aggro down enchantments for your weapon. And I was using auto attacks and healing abilities. Nothing directly. Those are the two things you can do that do not draw much aggro, especially if you have enchantments that make it where aggro does not accumulate nearly as much on your character. When it comes to your tank, how you want to build your tank is you want to build them with the support characters who have the designation tank. There are 3 designations: healer, tank, attack. DPS, tank, healer, easy. So your tank will have abilities that draw aggro. Some of these drawing aggro attacks will make it where they have 100% dodge rate while they're using their aggro attacks, and it's interesting. But I see my AI trying furiously just to get this boss off of me. It uses its aggro attack, hits them with 3 abilities, one of which draws aggro, and the other ones do damage. And I have enchantments on her that increase her aggro accumulation whenever she uses her abilities. And then she switches to her second tank support character, switches to that new weapon, and then uses its aggro attraction skill and uses all of its skills on him. And I made her I told her to use a special to accumulate even more aggro. He completely ignored it. He looked at her for a second, but then he looked back at me immediately. It's like the game knew that's what should have happened, but it told me no. I am coming to hit you because you have half health and you're the healer. I'm coming for you and you are going to die. And so the rest of your party is going to die. It just... anyone who's played a Xenoblade game and you're fighting a boss and you cannot tell it what to do, like, putting it simply, if you cannot tell it which HP bar to attack, then the fighting system falls apart. Because especially in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, the combat is sluggish. It can feel fast and calculated. In the original Xenoblade Chronicles, the combat is extremely fast. You can auto attack and move at the same time. In this game, you can't. You can accumulate aggro much faster. You can make it go away much faster. You can heal much faster. You can do damage much faster. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is slowed down to the point where it is difficult to heal yourself and difficult to do the combos that you need to do to get enemies off of you. There is the simple system of break, topple, launch, and then slam if you just want to do extra damage. A break allows you to topple. A topple knocks them down for a couple of seconds. A launch hits them into the air for a couple of seconds, and a smash hits them onto the ground, making money and health potions pop out of them. And it's slow. Only break and topple and daze are in the original Xenoblade Chronicles. A daze is basically just extends topple. It just makes them stay topple for like that much longer. It's like 2 seconds. You could also topple an enemy multiple times, so it made it a lot easier to keep control of the battle. But it's not that it was a pushover. The game was not easy. It wasn't. It was a challenging RPG, and if you skipped battles and didn't do stuff, the game was like, you shouldn't have skipped so many fights because now you're underleveled and can't do damage. But in this game, I never felt like my input is what made me win. I always felt like, well, I just got lucky that they didn't use the attacks that instantly killed me. Multiple bosses have abilities that instantly kill you. And before you pitchfork me, Xenoblade Chronicles has that too. Well, as well. Xenoblade Chronicles, the original, has the same sort of mentality to it, but it has the Monado, which allows you, that sounds really nerdy, the Monado. It allows you to see it coming. It lets you see it coming, and it tells you what character it's gonna hit, and then it lets you act accordingly. It lets you go up to a party member and tell them, hey, you need to do a specific skill or you're going to die. Or there were some that required you to use a special skill that only the Monado had, which means if you didn't have Shulk in your party, you were SOL, so you had to play Shulk, Ryan, Sharla, or you were going to die. That's just the simple truth of that game. You could try and do Shulk, Sharla, Ricky if you wanted to, but it didn't work out as well. But that game had solid combat, and it was fun all the way through, and if you weren't fighting bosses, you could use whatever party you wanted. And some mini bosses, you could use whatever party you wanted. It just had to be played differently. With this game, I never felt like my party composition mattered. The only thing that mattered was I was able to make my tank get hit, and I was able to heal my tank. That is the only thing that I felt made me win this game. And you come to the end of this large RPG that is you put 130 hours into, and you enjoy the majority of your time with it, but there's just all these problems that nag at you while you're playing this game, but you're just like, man, I need to finish it. I didn't finish X, I'm gonna finish this one. And I like the characters. The most fun I had was when I wasn't using the story's protagonist in my party at all. Because near the end of the game, they make it very obvious that you're supposed to use him as a crutch, because he is extremely overpowered. But he's only overpowered if you can fulfill certain requirements, and sometimes the bosses are not built with that in mind. So as it turns out, the game suffered from a lack in, I'd say a lack in focus in the combat design. And in Xenoblade Chronicles X, that's all it had, was a focus on the combat design. And in Xenoblade, the original Xenoblade Chronicles, it had the best of both worlds. It had the amazing combat, and then it had a pretty passable story that you wanted to finish, and characters that were likable. It wasn't that. It's usually not the story that makes it JRPG special. It is the characters that are in it and how they interact. And in that game, I really enjoyed them. And in this game, I enjoyed one character, and that one character is Zeke. And I don't know, he was kind of a callback character. He said, "I'm really feeling it" whenever he's in battle, but other than that, he's not much of a callback character. It's just a small reference. But other than that, Zeke was the only character I could say I actually liked. Oh, and Morag, however you say her name. She was a interesting character in like a trooper kind of way. Trooper, you know what I'm saying? And whew, man, it just came to a point where I was just I was fed up. I didn't want to finish the game. I got to that point. I was just like, oh my gosh, if this boss pushes me one more time, I don't know if I can see this game worth beating. Because I really had this feeling that the story was going to end in a very anime kind of way. Like, oh my, just anime, someone's going to do a thing and everyone's going to be like, no, don't do the thing. And it's like, but I have to do the thing. That's what I went into. And I actually kind of wanted that to be the ending, but the ending meets my expectations and then just pisses all over them. Whew. I have a suggestion. If you play this game, do not watch the credits. Don't watch the credits. After it fades to black and the credits start going, just turn off your Switch. It saves when the game, just leave the room, turn it on Hulu, turn it on Netflix. Just don't watch the credits. Don't come back for 30 minutes, just to be careful. Do not watch the final cutscene. And you can just do with what you will. Know the game, it's been beaten and the conflict has been resolved. But yeah, I had to get this out. No one's awake for me to talk to right now. It's now 5 o'clock in the morning. I've been talking for 30 minutes almost. And if you've gotten through this, well, you're a trooper. Because I'm not going to edit this. And I'm probably just going to put like a slideshow behind it or a picture. Nothing really complicated. But yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I can say it is a good game with many flaws. And if you can get past those flaws, and if you don't care about side quests, if you just care about main story, if you like the idea of being able to have a vast arsenal that you can give your party, you like that feeling of having a large amount of utility and exchangeability between your party members, you can basically take your main healer and then turn that person into a tank if you want to, or into a damage dealer if you want to. You can build your characters differently. If that sounds like something you would enjoy, well then good on you. I can't recommend this game. I can't recommend it to anyone, but I can say that I'm glad that I made the investment in time and with my money. I bought the collector's edition. And I'm probably going to sink another $30 into it just so I can see what the extra story they're going to be giving us is, because oh my god. Okay, everyone. Y'all have a fantastic night, day, evening, whatever it is. And I will see you all in the next video.